Unofficial Universal Orlando podcast is a member of the Mice Chat Podcast Network. MicePod.com. Now, discover the universe, one theme park at a time.
Greetings, Universal fans! This episode was made possible by Fairy Godmother Travel and the Producers Club. So let's join the gang as we discover more about the Universal Orlando Resort, as well as Universal Studios Hollywood, Japan, and Singapore.
Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 138 of the Unofficial Universal Orlando podcast. I'm your host, Lee, instead of Darren, because Darren's not with us tonight. He should have been, but we've had all sorts of Skype issues, so he's unfortunately not. Joining me, as always, is my good lady wife, Tracy.
Hello.
Hunter's not here either, so it's an all-British cast tonight, which is quite appropriate, actually, considering what the main topic of this conversation is going to be. But we also have a very special guest, which is Zoe Waycott. Thanks for joining us, Zoe.
Hello, thank you for having me.
It's a more than a pleasure. And this, like I say, this is very perfect, because there's going to be a lot of Harry Potter talk tonight, I have no doubt.
Oh, good.
Now, we've
invited...
yes, after the discussion we've had already, I'm very excited for the second half of the show. So, we've invited Zoe on because she took part in the international... Is it actually a college program, or is it just an international program?
You do have to be studying, so I guess it is. It's similar to the Disney ones, but it was, Universal International Program, I think is what it was called.
Mm-hmm. They were up all night thinking of that title then.
Yeah.
But while Zoe was over there, she worked obviously at Universal Orlando in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter.
Very cool.
Where did it start, this sort of going into this program? Where did you first find out about it?
Well, I was just searching for ways to work in America, and specifically in the theme parks over there. I'd been when I was younger and fell in love, just like everybody seems to.
Yeah.
And so because I was at uni at the time, I wanted to do something for my summer. And I was just looking through and I found some links. And Yummy Jobs was the original company that were doing it. And I went on there, I applied straight away and was like, yeah, I'm doing this.
Brilliant.
Because there's so many people apply to these things and it took them quite a while to get back. But when they did, I ended up with the phone interview. And that was like, well, at least I've done that. That's amazing. Even if I don't get any further, I know I managed that. So I was quite proud of myself. It was after the phone interview. The phone interview was pretty scary.
Right.
I hadn't done a phone interview before. I even suited and booted. I wore a suit to make myself feel very professional.
Good idea.
And then the next interview, I had to travel up to Manchester or London, I think it was. I went to Manchester because it was kind of closest.
Tracy's just looked there and gone, because obviously normally we say we travel down to Manchester. Where in the country are you, Zoe?
I'm in Plymouth. I'm in Devon.
That's quite a way down the country.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Manchester's a bit of a trek.
Yeah, London would have been easier, but I don't think I think it was more expensive for me to go there at the time of year that it was, or something like that. But so I ended up going to Manchester. I hadn't been there before, not since I was younger. So that was like a bit of a experience in itself. So I went there and that was our first interview with people from Universal. So before it was just Yummy Jobs, which were the agency that were just working for Universal. But these were actual people that were normally American. Well, they're always American, but normally working in Universal. So meeting these guys firsthand was still quite cool. But that interview was a group interview.
Right.
So there was 4 of us and they asked us questions. I don't remember many of the questions now. But they were mostly, I was surprised that I did well because I said hell.
Okay.
And I felt like that in America that was a swear word because I know in The Simpsons Bart gets told off for it. So as soon as I said that, I was like, oh no, I'm not going to get it. But apparently it went okay.
Well, if they'd have been there now with the Springfield area open, you'd have definitely got in.
Definitely, yeah. After that, I think it took a while for us to find out again. And what was next then? I think that was the last stage. So after that, it was just we had to pay fees to do it. So it did turn out quite expensive because you have to pay for your flights over there. You do have to pay for your accommodation.
Really?
Yeah. Fortunately, the accommodation, that's all set up for you before you go there.
Right.
So it was pretty simple. You get there and you know where you're going because they've already set it up for you. But that was about $100 a week. So like quite a big chunk of our pay came out straight away.
I assume that was like sort of like university sort of dormitory style, was it?
Yeah. So you shared a room with someone, which I hadn't done before.
Mm-hmm.
That was quite strange. But it ended up being really fun because we became really good friends.
Oh, good.
I guess the flight over was really nerve-wracking because I was just so excited but so worried about what was going to happen.
Is that the first time you'd ever flown on your own as well?
No, it wasn't actually, but it was the first time I've flown that far.
Right.
9-hour flight, and that was quite a way because most people went the day before I went because I was still at university,
right.
and I think a lot of people finished a bit earlier, but I went the last day that you could go over because of still having university work and things.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it all moved really, really fast. I felt I can remember still packing and being like, "Oh my god, I've got to go."
So did they, when you got over to the other side, did they have people to meet you there, or did you have to make your own way there?
They did have a bus set up for us, but it had already left.
Oh.
Awesome.
So we ended up having to get a taxi, but it was all right because I managed to find other people that were still going over on that day as well. I think there was only about 5 of us that went over on the same day, so it was quite easy for us to all get into a taxi.
Yeah.
And fortunately, we're all living in the same place as well.
Handy.
Yeah, and I managed to speak to them beforehand. We all spoke and everything. So I mean, it wasn't like I was going out there completely alone. At least I knew that they would be friendly faces.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Because that's quite a culture shock, really.
Yeah. I guess because I've been to America before, at least it wasn't completely brand new. But I think a lot of people that haven't travelled much wouldn't. I don't think they got on so well.
Right.
Especially like the food's all different. Everyone is very different as well. It was surprising how friendly everyone is, though.
I find America's one of those places that it's similar enough to home that it feels comfortable, but different enough that it doesn't feel like home. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Everything's just so much bigger.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Everything.
The food, the roads.
Mm-hmm.
So after you missed your bus and got your taxi over, where did you go straight to your accommodation at that point, Zoe, or did you have to go to Universal?
We went straight to the accommodation. It was a couple of days before we first went to Universal for our sign-in and inductions and things. At first, we went to our apartments and that because we're in a gated community.
Right.
There was 2 sets of them. So it was the over 21s, mostly over 21s were in one, and that's where I was. And then under 21s were in another one. Because, of course, that's something very different for British people as well. 18, you can drink.
Yep.
Over in America, have to be 21, don't you? So loads of them, I think they kind of struggled a bit with the normality of it, especially of like going out in the evenings and things, not being able to buy a drink. It's just a bit like...
Yeah, used to it at home.
Yeah. Didn't make a difference to me, I was just going to say. But we were just over two different gated communities. So a little bit like some of the villas and things in the gated communities that you'd stay at. But we had like little apartments in townhouses and things like that spread across. So we were mixed in with people that lived there normally.
Right.
All right.
Where were they? Do you remember?
My one was in Metro West.
Give us a clue, because I have no idea.
Near Kirkman.
All right,
There's a Walmart near it.
So not far from Universal then, really.
Not that far. I think it was 2 miles, 2 miles north, near Turkey Lake.
All right.
Yep.
Oh, yes.
That's it. And then the other one was just the other side of Kirkman Road. But I don't think I ever went to that one properly. I guess all the under 21s came to ours.
So how was that settling in process, like getting used to being away from home and in a different country and being with someone you didn't really know? And
well, first off, the time difference was quite awkward trying to speak to family and things, especially once we started work. Because 5 hours behind. When you finish work and you want to Skype them, they're already in bed. So that got a little bit frustrating. But I mean, it's easy to email And then when you do get a bit of free time, you can easily Skype. So I probably didn't stay in contact with home as much as I should have done. But I think they understood that I was having such a good time.
Yes.
And I just kind of needed to enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
But everything else, it was quite fun just getting to know everything, like the difference between like dollars and pounds. I mean, it made quite a difference because I wasn't really used to having to think about dollars. And the way they do some of their food, they're like $2 for $1. And they're like, so what?
Yeah.
Do you have to do that then? Or can you just buy one? Or
It's like that thing as well with the sales tax as well, isn't it? That the price you see isn't necessarily the price you pay.
Yes, definitely. That I think the first time like I realized that, I was like, what? This is ridiculous. Because it wasn't used to that at all.
No.
Yeah. So that accommodation you said that you paid for, I assume that was taken straight out of your paycheck then, was it?
Yeah, we didn't see that at all.
Yeah.
That just came out straight away, which was really handy because obviously that meant we didn't have to budget so much.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they actually set us up a bank account.
Right.
So we had our own American bank account when we got there for us to use our cards and things, so it wouldn't charge us as much, obviously, if we were using our cards from home.
Yeah. Did you get a social security number then?
We did, yeah. So one of the days we had to go over to the social security office and everything, and that took quite a long time for us to go for our interviews and things like that. So, we did have to get visas as well. I forgot about that bit.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
We did that in the UK.
Right. How was that?
That was all. It was pretty straightforward. Just another interview, but as long as you don't have anything to hide, it's fine, isn't it?
Yeah.
True.
I haven't actually asked you yet. How long did you work over there, Zoe?
3 months.
Right.
So it was from June to September.
Okay. So we've covered your accommodation and stuff. Without going into, well, we want to talk about the Wizarding World in depth, I think, for the second half. So you've got your accommodation, you've got settled in. Talk to us about that first, like going and meeting the guys over at Universal for the first time. How did that go?
Well, the first day we all went in for our induction and we all had to get our ID cards. And that was, it felt like a lot of waiting around to begin with. But then once we all got into the room, it was just like a giant classroom.
Right.
And we're all just there like waiting. And there's the murmur of everyone's excited voices. And then we get this great guy come up and he's just so energetic and happy to be there. And everyone's just settled in straight away and was just like, yeah, this is going to be amazing. They showed us a few videos and things like that. And it was just like, yeah, this is going to be amazing.
You'd obviously been to the parks before that point, have you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. When I was younger. So it'd been like 10 years or so since I'd been. So I mean, things were quite different, but it was still very familiar.
Yes.
So, and I think most of the other people that had been there had already been, because I think that's how you kind of get the bug to go there again.
Well, that's it. You
Yeah.
kind of hit the parks at that time when it was really in its resurgence as well, that people did want to work there.
Yeah. And that's the thing with the other staff members and team members there. Everyone was happy to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone was so friendly. You'd walk around and everybody would be smiling at you, and it felt so wonderful. It was quite different to working in Britain, really.
Mm.
I mean, there's lovely people in Britain as well, but we do have that British kind of don't talk to people on the tube and things like
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that about going to America, that people will just talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, about anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when they find out you're from England as well.
Yeah.
This is true.
The Universal team members have always had a bit of a bad rep, really, because it seems to be that people want to work at Disney.
Mm-hmm.
And then Universal's kind of had that thing where the people sort of look at it and think that the people who work there, they're just there because it's a job. And I think at one point that was maybe true. I think now, and probably when you were there, that's not true at all.
Yeah, I would say so. I did mix with some people that weren't in the Wizarding World, but of course most of the people that I mixed with were from the Wizarding World. And I think the Wizarding World definitely makes you want to work there.
Yes.
But I didn't find a difference between people that didn't work there not wanting to work there.
Right.
Yeah.
They were all still very happy to be doing what they were doing. I think everyone takes quite pride in what they do. they all know the ins and outs of like the ride or attraction that they're working on and things like that. And I think it does give you a big sense of pride.
Yeah, I would love to work there.
Yes.
So they let you hang around with muggles. What's that all about?
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. So when you signed up for it, Zoe, did you sign up to work in the Wizarding World, or was that given to you at a later date? Did you know when you went over where you would be working?
No, I had no idea. Most people, I think it was all attractions. I think one, oh no, it wasn't. Some people did work in food and beverage and things like that. So you did get to say what area you wanted to work in.
Right.
So, I mean, I did say that I wanted to work in attractions, but if I had to work somewhere else, then that would be fine as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't know I would be working in the Wizarding World. Everyone kind of suspected that because that was the newish thing.
And because you're English.
Yeah.
It's ideal. I'd be like, if I went over as an English person, like, if I don't get to work in there, I'm going home.
Yeah, it fitted in really well. But there was a few people that didn't work in the Wizarding World that were the other British students.
Right.
Which I was quite surprised about, really. But they still had an amazing time doing what they were doing. So, I do feel like I was really lucky.
Yeah.
Especially being put on Forbidden Journey.
Oh. That's just whet my appetite for the second half of this show. I cannot wait. Oh.
Brilliant.
Because I think overall there was 70 of us. And I think the majority were in the Wizarding World, but only 10 of us were on Forbidden Journey. And the rest were just around.
Awesome.
Obviously doing very important things in other places.
Keeping out muggles.
Yes.
I'll be using that all night now. So the induction you had, Zoe, what sort of stuff did they tell? Without going into your actual Wizarding World induction, because we will go into that a bit more depth later, just your induction to working at the parks, what did that sort of entail?
It was a lot of history about the parks. And so we were getting to know the brand and everything like that. A lot of customer service, because that's one of the top things, and a lot of health and safety, because obviously working in the environments that you do, there is a lot of dangers, really.
Yeah.
Especially with all the ride equipments and everything like that. So you need to be head can't be in the clouds. It's got to be on the ground all the time. So there was a lot of that involved. I think there was I think that the most classes we had were in the health and safety training.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But they still tried to make everything fun. So it wasn't like sitting in a normal classroom. It was like sitting with friends, learning about something kind of fun.
Uh-huh.
What class can you think better other than learning about theme parks? Can you imagine if that class was offered at university? Be like, yes, please sign me up.
Yep.
Yeah, I wish I was able to do a university degree in that instead.
So how long was that? You say you took quite a few classes. How long a space of time was that over?
We took 2 days just in classrooms, basically. One of the days we had like an hour or so in the park doing like a scavenger hunt to find out more about the parks.
Awesome.
On a first-hand basis. And then as we went on, one of our first days in our locations, my one, I had to do an evacuation training. So we had to work with the ride vehicles and things like that.
Right.
And then I had another health and safety thing, another afternoon as well. So there was quite a bit of it. But most of the training as well was on the job.
Right.
So the first few days, you're shadowing someone completely and they're just teaching you everything inside out.
Okay.
Did you have to take any tests?
Yes.
Yes.
The best test I've ever taken.
Okay. Is that something we're talking about later, or can we talk about that now?
I think we'll talk about it later.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. Right. I just want to go and do that. I don't want to work in there. Just give me the classes and the tests and stuff. So you said that you didn't know you were going to be working in the Wizarding World when you went there. How did they tell you? Like, did they just sort of drag you all into a classroom and go, right, you're going to be working there and you're going to be working there? Or did you get a letter or an email? Or how did they tell you that?
It was in our packs. So I think it was the second day we got a pack with more induction things in it, and it said, "Welcome to the team. You are going to be working in this location." But I managed to find out the day before.
How?
Because one of the girls that I was living with had been there the year before.
Right.
And she was dating one of the guys that was already in the locations, and he'd already seen who was where.
Right.
Ah.
So he slyly told her.
Sneaky. I like it.
So the day before I found out, and I didn't want to get my hopes up too much just in case it wasn't right.
Yeah.
And when I found out, I was just so pleased.
So when you got that pack and it said you were going to be working in the Wizarding World, did it tell you where in the Wizarding World you were going to be working, or just that you were going to be working there?
Yes, it told you your whole role.
Oh,
I
man.
would be a Hogwarts student.
I don't know whether to get into that later or now. Do we get into it? Go on, we'll do it now. Did you get sorted into a house?
Yes,
Go on.
I was Gryffindor.
Have you?
Yes.
Here we go. Let's go. Have you been sorted on Pottermore?
Yes,
And you were sorted into?
Gryffindor.
Well, there you go. That's perfect.
Must be a Gryffindor then.
So I was, I've always been Gryffindor.
How did they do it? Did they have like official sorting ceremony? Did they just go, "Oh, you're in Gryffindor"?
I don't know how much I should divulge.
Right. Spoiler
Keep
warning.
the magic alive.
Spoiler. Go on.
We were told what houses we would be in, and then we were given our uniforms, and they basically said what house we were in as well.
Right.
Because obviously everyone had a different uniform,
Yeah.
depending with the tie, and we all had different robes and jumpers and things. It's surprising how many different things that you need for a Hogwarts school uniform.
Of course. There's a list as long as your arm.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh, man. Because, like, one of the things that we first went to the Wizarding World when we went over in 2013, and one of the things that was glaringly obvious to me was the actual lack of British people working in there.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
not even people trying to put on fake British accents, just not
Which
at
actually
all.
I was grateful for, I will be honest.
I actually found the only English person that I found there was working the cart near the bathrooms.
Yes.
And he was from Carlisle. And I stood and talked to him for about 5 minutes.
Probably about football, was it?
No,
Oh, okay.
because he's not that far away from us. I think he was the
remember-
only person that I can remember.
Not that you went and looked at, and spoke to every single person.
We interacted with a lot of people
Yes.
when we were in the Wizarding World, and he's the only one I remember having a
Yeah.
British accent.
Well, they do say J.K. Rowling. She said that she didn't want the Americans to try and put on an English accent,
Right.
as far as I remember. But I heard that it's different in Diagon Alley.
Right.
So I do think it should be more authentic. Send us back over.
Yes.
What I seem to find when we were over last time is that the sort of prominent roles seem to be English people. So the guys in Ollivanders, the Hogwarts Express conductor, those type of roles.
Well, that makes sense.
I've gone back and forwards on this, but the girl who was conducting the frog choir.
Yeah. You think she was English?
I think she was
I don't
English.
think she was.
I don't know. It wasn't
Oh, she's English, but she's been in America for a while.
possibly.
Was my suspicion.
But anyway,
Yes.
I assume a lot of the cast members when... oh my God, I've just completely...
Get out.
Sorry.
Out.
The team members when you were there, what would you say the percentage of Brits to Americans were there when you were there then, Zoe?
Well, the only Brits that I knew were the ones I'd gone over with.
And you said there's about 40, didn't you? Is that
Yeah,
right?
but 70 altogether,
Right.
I think it was. And there's a lot of Americans. There's a lot more than 70 people that work in Universal.
Exactly.
I'm sure,
Yes.
yeah. And even just in the Wizarding World, there's probably a lot.
There was, I think, around the parks, people that I didn't know. I think I did hear a couple of English accents, but it wasn't many at all.
No.
And I think some people, they probably were British, but they've already come over and everything like that. And then they've just got a normal job there, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But obviously, it's the visas and things like that can be a problem with that. Otherwise, I'd be there now.
Well, right, before we take a quick little break and come back and talk about the stuff I really want to get, is there anything else about the induction process you feel you want to bring up, Zoe, that you think people could be interested in? Actually, because we talked, they don't do this program anymore, do they?
No, that's something I will say, yeah. They're currently doing a program through Yummy Jobs to work in the hotels, in the Lowe's hotels, but you can't actually do it to work in the parks at the moment. On the Universal Studios website, there is a FAQ, and it does have an international bit on there. But I think that will change if they ever do bring it back, and it will say about it. But it's not currently open for applications as I know it at the moment.
It's a shame.
It is.
So yeah, which is a shame. I'd like to go back, but when I did it anyway, you had to be a student and under 28.
Okay.
Oh.
So there was a restriction to it as well.
You tick one box, Trace. You're a student. Just not the other one. We won't say that, though. Cool.
Yeah, you could have said that I was under 28. I wasn't a student.
Brilliant. Right, well, we'll take a quick break, and then we'll be back to hear the stuff that I want to hear about.
Diagon Alley is open at Universal Studios Florida, and we know all you witches and wizards can't wait to visit. So let our friends at Fairy Godmother Travel deal with the muggles in resort reservations. They are Universal Parks and Resort specialists, as well as an authorised Disney vacation planner, and their service is free to you. From the new Cabana Bay Hotel to those other hotels run by a mouse, Fairy Godmother Travel can book all your Orlando area vacation needs. And make sure to let them know you heard about them because of UUOP, because every UUOP referral helps us continue to bring you the best Universal coverage. Contact them today by phone on 832-284-4002 or toll free 888-939-642539 or go to fairygodmothertravel.com. Let Fairy Godmother Travel make your next vacation magical.
We now return you to your regularly scheduled programming.
Well, welcome back, everyone. I'm joined, as I said before, by Tracy and Zoe. And now we delve in. Zoe, talk about your Harry Potter training.
Well, basically, we had a whole Harry Potter class. This is just to make sure everyone knows about the Harry Potter world. I mean, myself, of course, I'm a big Harry Potter fan already. I've been to the premieres, I've read all the books, seen all the films, done everything about it.
Awesome. Have you met anybody famous at those premieres?
Not properly. I got their autographs and things, but because it just goes so fast, you don't really get a proper chance to meet them. But we got like Emma Watson's autograph and Tom Felton and everything like that.
Oh, wow.
We going off on a tangent now. But we went to the last one, and we slept there for 3 days waiting for them to come out.
Oh, wow.
So that was a bit of dedication there.
Yeah.
You've put my small tattoo to shame now. I don't even feel like a fan anymore.
I don't have any tattoos though, so that's good dedication.
As a Gryffindor, you couldn't possibly.
No, it's true.
No. It wouldn't get away with a dark mark.
No. So anyway, your classes, so obviously you knew pretty much everything anyway. Did you actually find out anything that you didn't know?
I don't think so. That makes me sound like a right snob about it.
No, because I wouldn't expect them to teach me anything either if I went over there. But what sort of stuff did they tell you?
It was mostly like things about you need to know the names of the Hogwarts houses and who created them and things like that.
Uh-huh.
They actually had a really good display of like all these witchy objects and things like that, which was quite amazing.
Cool.
So they really did up the room for it. But with that, you did have to do, that was the test. You had a test at the end of it, and all the questions were about Harry Potter.
Tell me you aced it.
I did. I was so
good.
pleased. I was so proud.
That's one of them things as a Potter fan, if I get any of these wrong, especially like, what house is Harry in?
Yeah.
Were they difficult? I mean, obviously it's difficult to say as a Potter fan that any question's really difficult, but how easy was it?
It was fairly simple because it's basic knowledge really that
Yeah.
you need to know. If someone has a question, you need to be able to answer it.
Yeah.
So, where's Harry and Hermione? Oh, well, they're in the castle. They're about to go and see a Quidditch match or whatever.
Yeah.
Because that's what they were doing in Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey. So,
Of course.
See, I love that thing about the Wizarding World that J.K. Rowling was as strict with it as she did, but that you do play a role, and that's like daft things like they don't sell any outside products, like branded products inside the Wizarding World, so you can't buy Coke or whatever, and like they will. What's that? What apparently they're doing it even more in Diagon Alley. With stuff like if you like see people on your phone, they'll be like, "What you do? What's that? What have you got there?" And that's type of stupid thing, which is brilliant. That's what people want.
Yeah.
That immersion in that in that environment. So, talk us through your first day, then, Zoe, if you can remember. I know it was a while ago.
The first day was part of training.
Right.
But there's one. I have one really big memory from it was. Because as you go in and you go through all the different roles, because you're always moving around. Like one point you can be on the greeter, greeting everyone into the castle, and then the next point you can be in the dungeon, telling people that they need to put their bags in the locker. And I not one of the most fun ones.
No.
But my first day, I was in the dungeon, and this really tall man just walks straight up to me and just hugs me. Oh. And he's like, "I'm so happy to be here. This is amazing." And I just didn't really know what to do.
Oh, wow.
Was he English by any chance?
No, he was American. And then he heard my accent. So I think that might have made it a bit more real for him. And I was just gobsmacked to see my first day and someone comes up to me like that. And it was just incredible.
Oh, wow.
It does affect people like that, though.
Mm-hmm.
I've known people walk into Hogsmeade crying.
Yeah. So, and look, I didn't start crying when I walked into Hogsmeade. I was already started as I walked into Islands of Adventure.
Yes.
I will admit that I did cry.
Yeah.
When I went, it was when I saw Dumbledore.
Oh.
Because it was my first time on Forbidden Journey, and going through the queue. We went through the long queue, like everybody else, to know exactly what it felt like. And seeing Dumbledore, that's when it all came together, and I was like, "I'm here. There's Dumbledore. I'm going to be working here," and I cried.
I don't blame
it. That queue is stunning.
Yeah.
It really is just unbelievable. That's my
It's like going to school every day.
Oh, is that a good thing?
Oh.
If you go to Hogwarts, then yeah.
This is true. This is true.
So going back a little bit to, did you have to learn any of the spells then, Zoe?
I think they were on the test, actually, some of the spells. Like if anyone tries to jinx you, like children and things like that, obviously because you can't actually do a real reaction to it, you just have to walk away.
Right.
That's what I remember being taught, because J.K. Rowling, obviously there's not many things that you can do in response to it. You can't get your wand out and start jinxing them back, because that's not very nice.
No.
So you just kind of have to ignore it, because if you were in the Wizarding World and someone tries to hex you, that would be quite bad behaviour, really.
Yes.
So you kind of have to ignore that in a way. But so you do have to know some of the spells. So it was just mostly about learning all the different roles within the attraction,
right?
Because there is a lot to all the different roles. Because if you're being on the ride, you come up to the benches and it's a moving platform.
Yeah,
and that's quite hard to get used to when you first start walking on there, because they are constantly walking along that platform, loading people into the ride. And that was, people used to say, "Oh, you must get a lot of exercise because we'd be walking up and down it." I don't feel like I did, though.
That's one of those positions I would feel it's not, because I know from when we were there, you don't get to interact with people at that point because it's all about efficiency, isn't it? It's getting people on and off as quick as possible.
Yeah, and safely.
Yeah,
so
safely.
That's the thing, because of the way the ride is. You are flying in the air eventually, aren't you? So it's the height thing is a bit scary. I mean, if you ever know about when the ride does get evacuated, luckily I was never in that position. The whole 3 months I was working there, it never broke down and had to be evacuated while I was there.
Okay.
Maybe I just didn't go to work enough. But no, I did. I loved being there. But obviously people have to get people out of there, and that's quite high to get them down.
Yeah.
So that's a big safety aspect. But learning about the ride itself as well, you do have to know a lot of the theming behind it. So, I mean, the premise is that Hagrid lost his dragon.
Yeah.
And so you will hear Hogwarts students shouting, "Have you heard? Hagrid's lost a dragon." And then the other students like, "Oh no, we better warn these guys."
Oh, that's awesome.
Warn the muggles. Yeah, that's the thing. The interaction with everybody, including the guests and the other team members, is amazing because you can just have fun with it, especially if you were placed somewhere when there's someone of a different house.
Yes.
Say I was a Gryffindor, somebody else was a Slytherin, and we're like, yeah, Gryffindor is going to beat you for the House Cup. We're gonna win this Quidditch match, and they'll be like, oh
Brilliant.
no.
I love it.
And then of course the guests interact with that as well. You know, say who here is a Gryffindor, who's Slytherin, and they all put their hands up. So much fun.
I know we had a couple of listeners. Chris Screws went and his wife went over, and they went into the park in full like school uniform. I think they were Hufflepuffs. I can't remember. They sent us an email about the interaction they had with the team members, and I can't remember what it was, but they said it was absolutely brilliant. And
yeah, if you're wearing something that's Harry Potter, they definitely, you can tell who's more into it and who's going to appreciate what you're saying to them more.
Yeah, I've had that experience.
Yeah.
That's the difference between going somewhere like Universal and just going to like a random theme park.
Mm-hmm.
They're the memories.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It is about creating the magic, creating the memories for people. And that's one thing that I loved about it. You were able to just go up to people and make them have a good time.
Yeah.
When I was there, I mean, I was able to give someone a free butterbeer at one point, and that was amazing. Seeing their reaction, it just made me so happy. And I remember one time as well, there were these girls I'd been speaking to while they were in the queue, and they came back to find me later to say thank you. Wow. And they even left me a little message, and then they added me on Twitter.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's lovely.
Things like that. It made me feel so amazing about it as well, just because I wanted to give them a good time.
We've always tried to put that out on the show that, you know, if you have a team member who goes out of the way to make that trip special, you know, go to guest services and let people know, and let them know as well, because it makes you feel better that you know that you've affected somebody's holiday.
Yeah, definitely.
And and the Wizarding World's, I think, one of those places where you can do it probably more than anywhere else.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, there's so much to it, just so much to it. Like we would, instead of like using normal technology terms like about cars and phones and things, me and my friends would say, "Oh, I'll send you an owl about that later." Meaning text. All right, I'll meet you at the broomstick, meaning I'll meet you at the car.
Brilliant.
And it's just things like that, and we ended up just doing them throughout our normal lives. And people just thought we were a bit strange then.
I love it.
But yeah, it gave you a chance to just theme so much. And I think that's one thing that just made it completely. It is like going into a different world.
Yeah. Oh, it is.
Oh no, I can't wait to get back.
So, out of all of the roles that you were given, did you have a favourite position?
I did because there's a secondary platform, for guests with disabilities.
Yeah.
And that was quite nice being down there because it's the platform doesn't move, so obviously they can easily walk up to it, albeit it'll transfer easily as well. And you got to have so much more time with those guests.
Yeah,
because you weren't in such a rush. You were able to talk to them while you were loading them and unloading them, or while they were waiting. So I liked that one.
I'd never considered that actually. Yeah,
a bit more personal than just the quick get on.
And that's like we said, the exact opposite of the normal sort of ride operator point, because it is literally on.
Yeah. Yeah. That, or being a greeter as well, and greeting everyone onto the ride. But that was also a bit difficult as well, you know, always checking for kids' heights. and things like that, and people that aren't able to ride. Because, of course, having to tell somebody that the kid can't ride or somebody in the party can't ride is always really heartbreaking. But it's safety first. So
yeah, because there was quite an issue when it first opened, wasn't it, with the size of the ride vehicles, that a lot of people couldn't ride it.
Yeah.
Did you have any trouble with that when you were there then, Zoe? Did you see much of that? Because I know they've put extra size seats in, haven't they, for guests who are of the larger type?
Yeah, the 2 end seats, they're the ones now that are a bit modified. But it was surprising at how many people you would have to turn away.
Really?
Yeah. And it was really hard, and you felt so bad for the people. But you always tried to turn it around and make it into a better situation for them. Because some people, they've waited forever to ride this ride, and then they can't. It can be hard.
Yeah.
But it's something that's got to be done.
Yeah.
It's difficult. How do you tell someone that they can't ride something that they've been waiting for ages?
Yeah.
Nicely, you can't really, can you?
No, I don't know how I did it now.
No.
I did. Still had a smile on my face at the end of the day, but I don't know.
Yeah.
So, and with that as well, if they end up still because they can still try to get on the ride, but sometimes, of course, that means the ride has to stop, and that can put them in quite an embarrassing situation then. So it's really to protect them in that sense, and to protect their safety. So,
what sort of shifts did they give you when you were there, Zoe?
Well, it depended on what time the park was open.
Yeah.
But most of the time it was a morning shift or an afternoon shift. So the morning shift would start at 6:15,
right,
until I think it was about 2:30, 3 o'clock. And then there was an afternoon shift that started probably at 2, I think it was, until close, which was sometimes about 10.
Okay.
And then sometimes there was people that would go in for the middle of the day. I don't remember what times those were though, because I didn't do those shifts, not very often. So it's a good long
that
good
first
long tread
one's
that
quite
you're there
a long.
for.
What?
Yeah.
How many days a week would they expected you to have worked?
5 days a week.
But not necessarily 5 consecutive days.
No, we got days off in odd places sometimes, but I don't think I worked 5 days every week. But we had like a minimum number of hours that we were contracted to work.
Right.
Okay.
So it was pretty good in that sense.
I assume, like the Disney College program, that you would have had the option to do extra shifts if you wanted them.
Yeah. On our days off, we could go in and work if we needed to.
Did you do it?
Not very often. I was having too much fun in the park doing other things, like riding the ride instead.
Yes. Go on then. In 3 months, how many times did you ride Forbidden Journey?
I lost count. I did try to tally it up, but I lost count. Because if you were in for a morning shift, if you'd finish, and then we would just ride the ride with our uniforms on still. And sometimes you'd ride with the guests, and they'd be like, "Oh my god!"
You would, yes.
Oh yeah, that would be stunning.
Yeah.
And that they end up with a picture, and someone in it is one of the students.
Oh, that would be brilliant.
Awesome.
What's your favourite part of the ride then?
Oh, my least favourite is the Dementors. They still really scare me. My favourite part is probably the end because of the waving to the students.
Yeah.
I love waving to the students.
Yeah,
and
I do
having
the
them wave
same.
back.
Yeah.
It's very interactive.
Yeah, I think that's probably my favourite bit.
I love the bit where you go past the bridge when the dragon's chasing you.
Oh, yeah.
And there's like the flame effect in the bridge, and it's like breaking that. No, I love that bit.
Yeah, I like that.
I still remember the first time I experienced that and just being completely awestruck. Like, how is this doing this?
Yeah.
Like, it's just amazing.
Yeah.
It's just like nothing else. You can kind of compare it to Spider-Man a little bit, but it just takes that and just completely blows out the water.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, that was one of the hardest things, was explaining to people what the ride was.
Yeah. How do you categorise that?
Yeah.
I don't remember what we used to say now. Because some people said different things as well. Because some people said, if you've been on Spider-Man, it's like that, but not really.
Which it kind of is.
But not really.
Yeah.
But not really at all. It's not a roller coaster, but it can make you feel like it's a roller coaster.
Technically,
it makes you feel like you're flying.
It's on a coaster track type thing. So
It's a moving stationary ride.
it's weird.
Yeah. It just has so many different elements.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you don't go upside down.
No.
I will stand by that one.
There's some
Although I've never been stopped on the ride, so.
Some daft woman a few years back, wasn't there, who broke down on it and said like she was tilted backwards and phoned 911.
Oh, yeah.
Really? Not phone the park and say, excuse me, we broke. I think they know you've broken down. Oh, whatever.
And that's the thing, it is so technologically advanced as well.
Yeah.
Everything's quite electronic. And they know they keep track of everything so much better than I would have ever imagined. I'm not someone who can create a ride. And I don't think I ever could, seeing what they're actually like.
Yeah.
I've got ideas, but I couldn't put them into real things.
And I mean, it's changed quite a lot over the years since it started, because I know it's not as intense as it was when they first opened it.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Because Hunter went a couple of weeks ago and he said the lighting's changed on the Dementor section, and apparently if you look close enough in the background, there's about another dozen Dementors in the back.
Yeah,
Don't tell her that. She's already said that's her least favourite part.
Oh no, more bring them on. But apparently the Warner Brothers execs rode it and went, no, that's far too intense, we can't have that.
Yeah, apparently there are loads in the room. I went in once, not into on the ride, and my friend had a torch and was showing us all the different Dementors in the room.
Cool.
And there is so many in there. And apparently they used to have hands on them as well.
All right.
But they were classed as being too scary.
Oh.
So...
There's bloody big spiders in one bit. Dementors.
That's pretty scary too.
Yeah, the kids, that was their least favourite bit.
Yeah, they both close their eyes every time.
Our first photo on it was the kids the one looking away. Just, I'm not going to look at them.
Hands over their eyes.
That is a pretty good photo op.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. But so you only worked on Forbidden Journey in the 3 months you were there then, Zoe?
No, I did work on Shrek for a day.
Okay.
And I worked on Dragons for a day. Because sometimes if there's too many people there, then they go to a different place that obviously needs people.
Yeah.
And that's where I was sent on those 2 different days. Shrek was really different because it's not a ride, is it? I was just taking in all the glasses.
Right.
So that was quite different. But it was nice to be somewhere different as well.
Yes.
And Shrek, I do really like Shrek. So it was nice being in the shop and seeing all the different things in there. And Dragon Challenge, I was a grouper while I was there. So I put everybody into their group, said, how many are you?
All right.
So that was pretty simple.
Yeah, you've got option to interact with people at that point as well. So
Yeah. And that was quite good. It was nice still being in the Harry Potter world, but not necessarily where I normally was.
Yeah.
Was it still dueling at that point?
No.
No.
No, it had already stopped at that point.
Wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
They must have had you tagged for a specific type of person because you've done 3 attractions. Forbidden Journey, that has a dragon in it. Dragon Challenge, that has 2 dragons in it. Shrek, that also has a dragon in it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Dragon Wrangler.
Do you like dragons? Did you put what animal do you like? I like dragons in your application. Is that what it was?
I don't think I do like dragons, but I don't think it was in my application.
Pretty strange question to.
I don't know. You get an idea of what type of person you are. Are you a cat person or a dog person? Well, actually, I'm a dragon person. And that's why they flagged you.
I think if I could choose.
Yeah. So we're getting quite close to the end, Zoe. Is there anything else you want to sort of add about your time there that you think people would be interested in?
I don't know now. I'll probably have loads of things to say when I'm done.
I know you haven't been to Diagon Alley yet. That's going to happen this year, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, I'm very excited for that. I've made sure I've kept away from all spoilers. So when I go, it's just going to be a completely new experience.
Oh, good. I wish I could have done.
Yeah, I think we know more about it than most.
Yeah.
We're probably the people in the world that know the most about it, not having been there.
So, I mean, the cool thing is as well is because I made so many friends while I was there, and a lot of them don't work on Journey now. They've moved to other places in Diagon Alley. So, I mean, there's a few people that are on Gringotts and some people that are on the Hogwarts Express and around. So it's going to be cool if they're working and I see them there again.
Preferential treatment.
Here's hoping.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to throw in a quick couple of questions before we wrap up. Butterbeer, frozen or regular?
It's got to be frozen.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Nope, not accepting that.
Hungarian horntail or Chinese fireball?
Horntail.
I've got a question.
Go on, him.
Did you try pumpkin juice?
Yes.
Did you like it?
No.
That's it. I'm done. I'm out.
I was really disappointed.
I like it.
I would have drank gallons of the stuff.
It's one of those
so expensive.
It's one of those things that people, they love it or hate it. But then I think that butterbeer is the same.
It's only one butterbeer.
Have you been to the studio tour down in London? Up in London for you, it is, Zoe.
Yes.
Did you try the butterbeer there?
Yes.
It was rank.
I didn't like that one.
No.
It's not the same.
Ugh.
No.
It was 3 times the price and not the same.
Yeah.
Coloured water with scum on top.
That was horrible. Brilliant. Right. Well, it has been a pleasure to talk to you, Zoe. It's been very interesting.
Thank you. I really enjoyed it. Nice to speak to you both.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I want to go and work in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter now. I've said that all along anyway. I didn't need to say that
You're
now.
just too old now.
You need to, when you're over there in October, Zoe, you need to start asking your friends and see whether there's any spaces for you and if they know about any more international programs so you can go and work on the other side this time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. That was the worst thing about the whole thing was having to come home.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was the best summer of my life.
Yeah.
And I don't think it will get better now.
I'm sure it's hard enough, it's hard enough coming back after a 1 or 2 week holiday over there, or a 3 week one.
Yeah.
After 3 months. Oh.
Yeah. I mean, it was just a completely different life.
Yeah.
And I'm worrying about going back and it not being the same. It won't be the same, but I think it'll be good in a different way.
Yeah. Or you'll have a completely different appreciation for it.
Yeah, I think so. We said the same when we went last time at the podcast because we've delved really into sort of the backstory of the parks and everything and talking about it every couple of weeks. I thought it would take away a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't. It completely enhances the experience.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Right, it has been an absolute pleasure. It has been really interesting. It's cool. I've been looking to do this for quite some time, so I really appreciate having you on, Zoe.
That's great. Well, thank you very much.
If Zoe does happen to go back over, you can follow. What's your Twitter, Zoe? Is it Zoe_Unleashed?
Yes, it is.
So there you go. Go and follow her and tweet her and say we really enjoyed you on the podcast.
Oh,
and
thank
ask us any more Harry Potter questions.
Oh God, I'm being inundated.
I'm always happy to talk about it. I feel like I talk about it too much to people that are actually in my life now. So I've got to talk to somebody else about it now.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about Universal because that's all we talk about.
Yes.
Cool. Right, well that's going to wrap up episode 138. For the absent Hunter and Darren, I am Lee. For Tracy and Zoe, this has been the Unofficial Universal Orlando podcast.
Well, that wraps up another Unofficial Universal Orlando podcast. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, and YouTube. Just search the word UUO Podcast. We'd love to hear from you, so if you've seen something hilarious in the parks, let us know for our Funny Schmidt segment. And if you've had a great experience with a team member, we want to hear about that too. So to get in touch with us, email us at podcast@uuopodcast.com or record us a message at speakpipe.com/uuopodcast. Please subscribe to us on iTunes and rate and review the show. That would be amazing. Not an Apple user? No problem. You can find us on Stitcher at uuopodcast.libsyn.com as well as many other podcast apps. And don't forget to check out our sponsors, Fairy Godmother Travel, for all your Universal vacation needs. Head over to our partner site, micechat.com, for even more theme park news, and check out micepod.com. So until next time, be adventurous.
This has been a micepod.com presentation.
Mice Chat.